Hello and welcome. In this video, I'll share with you step by step of how I composted kitchen scraps. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and like the video. And if you're my returning subscriber, I do not take your loyalty for granted. Thank you so much. When it comes to compost bins, you can either choose to DIY your own as I did, or even you can purchase. Either way, you can check online and see what best works for you. As for me, I didn't get any of this, so I decided to be a little innovative. So I used this juice box, and because I needed a pipe to go from top to bottom for aeration, I used that bottle and created holes in it so that it can aerate the compost thoroughly. And finally, I was done. And now, on to the next stage, making our compost. The four main components required for this to work are carbon, which consists of the browns and acts as a great source of energy for the microorganisms. Nitrogen for building cell structure. Oxygen for aeration, and that's why I have made so many holes, because for the microorganism to break everything, they need air. And last but not least, water. The moisture helps to break down the organic matter. For the microorganisms to remain active, they need a balance of both carbon and nitrogen, and the ratio is usually 20 to 30. You should also use soil, but mine is sandy soil, like it has a lot of stones. But you got to work with what you got. And to the next one, onion and garlic peels. And these, they are super important because they are rich in potassium, which means your compost will increase disease resistance, the growth will be immense, and the productivity abundant. Let's get cutting. And our first candidate, oranges. And I cannot emphasize enough of how important they are to our compost, because they heat up the compost, which helps to speed up the overall decomposition process. Next, greens, rich in nitrogen, helps in building the cell structure. Our third runners-up, bananas, and they harbor so many elements. To start with, potassium, sulfur, calcium, sodium, just to mention a few, and they are all important to a healthy growth. And remember to remove all the stickers because they won't decompose. Never throw out your tea bags, guys, because they help maintain the moisture levels and increase the speed of decomposition. Lemons in moderation are good for your compost because that smell deters pesky animals and bugs. And to our last, I literally picked this from the trash. I was like, this is nitrogen and moisture you're throwing away. And so it ended up in this cutting board. The reason as to why I choose to go an extra mile into cutting them into smaller pieces is because I wanted to speed up the decomposition period, because it usually takes 2 to 3 months, give or take, but I didn't have that time to wait, and so an extra mile wouldn't hurt. And next, eggshells. Never throw away your eggshells. They are a great source of calcium and other essential nutrients that the plants need. There are different ways to administer this, and this is one of the many ways. In the days to come, by the grace of God, I will share with you all the natural fertilizers we can use for our plants. Let's go organic and say no to pesticides. Shall we? Next, I managed to get my hands on a tiny bit of potting soil, but if you have access to compost, it will do you good in accelerating the composting process, and it boosts the microorganisms, especially when you do not have worm castings. And finally, we seal it with carbon. So it's carbon at the bottom, which is 25%, nitrogen at the middle, which is 30%, and carbon at the top, which is 25%. And obviously, I did not measure the ratios. I just used my eyes. When it comes to saving our planet, it narrows down to us living an intentional life, being intentional in all that we do, avoiding wastage, recycling, repurposing, upcycling. You get the drill? If many of us get into this drill, in years to come, we won't be where we are today. And I thank you for joining me, because I know we are going to champion this until the end for the sake of the future generations. As Jesus said, it is finished. It surely is. So I'm going to use this basin and these tiles to elevate my compost. And for the basin, it will catch the water, which will be drained from the compost. The first thing you notice is that our compost has compacted and most of the water has gone straight to the basin, which means the compost has not soaked the water. But we are going to wait a few days and then come back and repeat the process with the water which has been drained. 4 days later, you should never throw away this water because it embodies so many nutrients. So what you need to do is keep on repeating the cycle until the water is soaked completely, and then you just let it be until further notice. When you notice that your compost is dry, and that's when you give it some more water. To keep off the bad smell, you need to clean your basin, because when it drains there, that water obviously will smell. Two weeks in, and moisture levels, check. Worms, check. I never thought I'll be this happy to see worms in my life. Decomposition, check. No smell, check. You know what puts off many people from composting is because of the smell, and the cure to that is to ensure your bin, whatever you're going to use, has many holes for aeration, because oxygen is a major component for this to work. And as you can see, I never waste yard waste. And let me tell you, once you get into this drill, before you throw out anything, you'll be asking yourself, like automatically, what else can I do with this? How can I repurpose this before it ends up in your dustbin? You might be asking, why add the leaves, which are the carbon, and to this compost, which is already decomposting? It's because they're going to keep away the bad smell. It's going to retain moisture, and when I'm making my next compost, they will be my starter pack. Yes. And as you can see, I continue with the cycle of draining out and pouring in. That week, and as you can witness, my compost has reduced in size due to the decomposition that has been taking place. The reason as to why I think mine was speeded up is because of the region where I live. We have the highs of 41 degrees and the lows of 37 degrees, and I think that is a main contributor to my speedy process. I know you may be like, what is going on? Yeah, my compost is not yet ready, but it's hard to ignore the fact that around 80 to 90% of the decomposition has already taken place. And the reason as to why I'm doing this is because I have discovered a gold mine which will be so beneficial to this compost. Allow me to introduce you to this jam, which I discovered the day before these happenings. It's wood ash, which is best known as bioash in the permaculture community. I'm using it for my compost mainly because I used sandy soil, because that's the only soil we can find here. And it's super acidic, but if your soil is not acidic, you might not need it. You have to be super careful while using it, because it can be beneficial or detrimental to your compost. And once that is done, I'm just going to pour in just little water so that it can soak up all the juices. And in a week's time, my compost will be ready. Hey guys, so it's been a month ever since I started this project, and we want to see how it is right now. Look at this. You see, this is a cardboard, but when you crush it a bit, it's breaking down. I don't know whether I should give it some more time or not, but let's see. Remember, these are the ones which I added later on, so I bet the first ones are crushed. Wow, it's time I remove it. This one has helped so much. Wow, look at that. So I think what I can do, I'll just pour it out, then we see the bottom of it. Let me set you somewhere. This, I'm going to use them in the next batch that I'll make, because they've already started breaking down. I love the smell. It feels like, you see when the rain falls, that smell. So you can imagine there's a lot of nutrients in this soil. Oh my god, I can't believe this. Oh, we did it. We did it. We did it. Wow, look at this.
very fine. So you can imagine if you have access to good soil and you have access to manure, oh god, you will make very nutritious soil.
As you can see, the twigs and other larger particles, they take longer to decompose, but I was too excited to wait anymore.
As you can see, there's some which didn't break down. This didn't break down.
But for the next compost, I shall give it more time.
Because I don't have a mesh, I'm just going to use this. Let's see what it can see. So this is how it looks like. I wish I had a sieve. I could have sieved it more, but I'll just let it be like this. So I'll let it in for today to air out, and then I'll start planting tomorrow.
I would truly love to hear your thoughts about this. Have you composted before? Or if not, are you challenged to do so? And what more course of actions can we take towards fighting against climate change and mitigating the current food crisis? I do not take for granted the fact that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to watch this video till this end. I look forward to the day that we can all compost our food scraps, create beautiful gardens where we plant nutritious food. Join me on my next video where I'll share with you what I've planted so far from the compost that I've just made. Thank you, and remember to subscribe, and always keep in mind that the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. I will see you on my next video. Bye-bye.